So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm Rajesh, and I'll just quickly go over the agenda of what's going to happen throughout this presentation, and we can go from there. So, I'll give a bit of an introduction about who I am and the organization I'm from. And thereafter, I will look at decision-making as a process and how human beings make decisions and how we as human beings have biases when we are making our decisions and how we need to be mindful of them. Thereafter, I will explore what AIS is. AIS is our flagship tool, and it's a piece of software that we provide to our end clients in order to do reporting and visualization of data. And I'll show you how data has to be tailored. It needs to be personal in order to make sure that we address the right people in the right way and give them the tools that they need in order to build the insights and make decisions within a business. Thereafter, we'll have a quick question and answer session, and I'll share the details of how you can get your hands on this training and licensing for AIS. The training is it's $1,000 per person. It's virtual training, and it's what we charge to our clients. So it'd be really interesting, and we'd look forward to seeing you there for you guys to develop your skill sets and learn some more. So without further ado, let's just look at who I am. So my name is Rajesh. I'm based in London in the UK. I've worked with different technologies, different industries, different verticals within the BI space for over 10 years. I'm an avid student of various things, but I do like psychology, philosophy, and the study of leadership and organizational culture. I head up the operations of Active Intelligence, which is the organization that I'm from, and I'll discuss a bit more about them. And as you can see, there are some details, some contact details, if any of you would like to get in touch to learn some more, to share ideas, or just to connect in general. I'm happy to do so. The next idea or the next thing that we have here is who or the organization I'm from. So we are from a company called Active Intelligence. We've been going for just over 2 years. We have launched a flagship product which is called Active Intelligence Server. I'll refer to that as AIS. And what's really great is the opportunities that we collectively have had and the organizations that we have served. We have now penetrated 85 countries with a representation across the world. And we have worked with some of the largest names, and there are some names which are not so large, but we treat every client that we have with a lot of pride. And we're very proud of the work that we do, and satisfaction and quality is paramount as far as we're concerned. It wouldn't be right not to mention our sponsors today. Our sponsors, and Anup and his team have worked really hard. I don't know how many late nights he's had in trying to get all of this coordinated and working, and it's a really brave move, and I think it's definitely the start of something great, and I look forward to see this grow year on year. And it's really nice to listen to all of the other speakers along with the various sponsors as well. So, okay, so let's look at decision making. As human beings, we make decisions every second. Every action is related to a decision, and every decision has some type of influence or some type of information. In terms of how we work as human beings, today we are so dependent upon technology that even if we are leaving the house, or before we leave the house, or the day before, we will look at the weather. We will decide our wardrobe based on the clothes that we have to wear. We'll choose restaurants, we will choose places to eat, places to socialize based on data We will take the same approach with shopping. A lot of you guys use various online shopping applications. We also compare costs in terms of how much things cost. And of course, in terms of communication, we do the same. We use our social media apps, we use telephones, etc. in order to communicate. So it's very difficult to make a decision without data today. In fact, it's probably nigh impossible to do that. So if we are using so much data in order to make our decisions, and if decision making is such an important part of our lives, what is it that makes us create bad decisions? Or what are the things or what are the factors which make decision making biased or not accurate? So some of the very simple things that we can see is having an overwhelming amount of information, having too much data, and not being able to see what the actual insights are from the data that we have. Not having enough data or not having enough of the right data is also a problem, because our biases may skew towards the wrong decision because we haven't got the right data. Information bias is where we categorize our data points incorrectly. So by doing so, we come up with the wrong conclusions because it's unaudited data, untrained data, and therefore that's not a good idea. Similarly, something known as sunk costs or past data biases is a problem. So where you expect something to happen, a trend to happen, where there is no connection. This is typically seen in gamblers where they think that they can accrue more money based on the fact that they haven't had a winning streak, or if they've had a winning streak, they think the next bet that they're going to place is going to be a winning one. Another thing is segregating data or siloing your data where you don't take into account other parts of your business or other factors affecting your business. Currently, we've just seen that Facebook have announced a dating app, and in doing so, Match.com, which completely missed the environment variable of other competitors, have seen a massive slump in their share price because of the announcement that Facebook had made. So these are just a few of the biases that we have in terms of decision making. And on top of this, we have what is known as cognitive biases. And cognitive biases are that which stifle us from making effective decisions. And I think there are about 67 odd cognitive biases that we as human beings need to be aware of to make sure that our thinking is objective. So the converse of that is true in terms of how to make sensible decisions or intelligent decisions. It's known that we have two different parts of our brain, and from the conversations that we were having earlier, we know that the amygdala is a portion of the brain which makes very fast, very visceral decisions, and it's something which is not always relevant in decision making. Thinking Fast and Slow is a book that I would recommend, where they talk about two systems of thinking, system 1 and system 2. So the amygdala, the fast thinking, is system 1, and system 2 is the more analytical, the more cognitive thinking, which is required in some sorts of decision making. And there are different tools out there for you guys as individuals to make better decisions, and it's something that you should read up upon. In terms of intelligent decision making from a business perspective, it's very important as well. We've been talking about petabytes of data. We're talking about very large volumes of data, unstructured data, structured data, which has come into the market today and which is available to users. But you need to make sure that you get the essence which is relevant for business decision making. And we need to make sure that the right data is available to our fingertips. That being said, we need to ensure that we have the ability to be flexible and adaptive, because by being flexible and adaptive, we can ensure that we are growing with the times, we are accommodating the different needs of our business and our decision-making processes. So taking all of this into account, what I'm going to show you is how on a day-to-day, business users can make business decisions using active intelligence. So let me just go through what Active Intelligence Server is. And from there, we can go on to talk about the different tools that we have for decision making. So in terms of what Active Intelligence is a business intelligence tool. It's a visualization, a data visualization tool, and what it can do is it allows you to have all of the different aspects of data visualization available to you. So there are 3 very simple steps that you go through in order to create your visualizations. Firstly, you connect Active Intelligence to your data source. Thereafter, you create your data sets from your data. So Active Intelligence is quite unique that you can create any you can connect to any data source, and you can create custom connections as well, custom connectors. You can write them yourself if they are not available out of the box. Once you've created your connections, you create data sets, and what data sets are the subset of data which can potentially combine 2 different data sources, and which allow the user the foundation from which they can go on to create their visualizations. The next part is to convey. So it's creating your output that may be in the form of a dashboard, it may be a pixel perfect report, or it may be something like a cube or something which we can create quite easily. So AIS will allow you to create insights from your data, which is very important. A bit about the technology. Active Intelligence Server incorporates 3 different open source engines, BIRT, Jasper, and Pentaho. These 3 engines are very powerful, and they're open source, and they have a really large community. So any of you who have used BIRT in terms of reporting, or Jasper or Pentaho, this Active Intelligence Server is an end-to-end way in which you can manage your reports and distribute your reports. So it's really powerful in that sense. The other thing which is very important to us is your security, making sure that with all of the regulations that we have, the GDPR and everything like that right now, and data protection being so sensitive, just look at Cambridge Analytica and what's going on, or they're no longer in business. Data security is paramount. So making sure that the right people have the right access to the right data is very important. And for that, we have different security mechanisms and user access control. The other great thing is Active Intelligence Server's extensibility. You can integrate in your dashboards, you can integrate Google Maps, you can integrate different libraries, you can integrate feeds. So when you're looking at your dashboard, you have a very comprehensive information feed which will help you make decisions. This is a very high-level overview of what Active Intelligence can do. Across the left, you see the various different inputs. Through the middle, you can see some of the fundamentals of Active Intelligence. What's interesting is it's both cloud and on-premise, and it can have different output types. So you can have things like Excel, you can have PDF, you can have pictures, etc. And also, you then go on to the different things that we can do, and we'll look at some of them shortly. What's unique is its ability to have multilingual support. We have customers based in the Middle East who flip from our conventional left to right to left, and their dashboards are turned upside down. They have so we have different language support out of the box, but we can extend that as well to other languages. So now we know what AIS is. Let's look at how we can tailor data to fit the user. And we're just going to quickly look at a couple of examples, time permitting. I think I have examples for 3, but I think due to time, we'll just focus on the director. So the idea here is that different business users require data in a different way. So as a director of an organization, you want something which is quick and easy to use, which is very highly available, and you can have it on the go. You need something which is interactive. And so what we see here is just a very quick example of how the dashboard is used. So we're logging into the portal. Once we've logged in, you can see that you've been greeted with a dashboard. And again, we can customize this. We can change the colors. We can brand it again. This is just an example, and it's a fictitious company. You can see across the middle, there are various widgets. So graphs and charts. You can see a map widget with all the drill-in functions and drill-out functions. It's very slick. And you can see below that we're modifying and we're looking at a chart. We're zooming, we're zooming in, zooming out, we're clicking in, and we're seeing different functionality. Across the left is something quite interesting. It's a filtering function. We've just selected Florida, and now we're just changing to Texas, and you'll notice that the whole dashboard changes in terms of what's being displayed. Not just one widget, but it's linked to all of the different widgets across the dashboard. And you can see by selecting different months, we can do that. This is really interesting because the data sources for each of the widgets are different. All they have is a common key, and we're able to connect the different widgets even though they're from different data sources. So let's look at how we can share the data with the different users. All we're doing is we're taking a snapshot of one of the charts, and we're just sending it via the internal messenger to another user. And we're just asking questions as to why the data is showing a drop in sales. And that's gone, and that will be available in the inbox when the user logs in. In order to create this dashboard, it's really simple. What we're seeing here is a widget, a wizard, sorry, and the wizard is basically just allowing you to select your data, and it's all you can use parameters in order to drive that. And now we're seeing something called a hierarchy. Now, in the hierarchy, your charts do not need to be static. In this instance, we are using click-through function in the hierarchies to start with year, then go to month, and then go to category. So when we display the x-axis, we are going to use this hierarchy, and then we're going to just show the extended price or the order price, the sum of the order price. So the chart has been created, and it only took a couple of minutes to create. And you'll notice that it appeared at the bottom. So let's just move it up so it's in line with the rest of the dashboard. And again, you can see that out of the box, you see the functionality. We're drilling in. We've gone from year to month to category. But let's extend that. Let's make that so that it's connecting to all of the other widgets. So what we're doing is we're selecting the widgets that we need to link to, and then we're going to just simply show which column is going to link. So there you are. We've done this. We've got all of our widgets linked with all our KPIs and everything. And now when we just save and click, you'll notice that the whole dashboard reacts to the interactivity on the chart that we've just created. So very fast, very simple, very versatile. So this is the power of AIS, and this just gives you a very quick example in terms of what can be done. So just to summarize again, the dashboard is a very powerful tool, and it allows you to drill in, drill out, has multiple charts, etc. And again, the one thing I didn't mention was the ability to embed. You can take the full interactivity and embed it into your website, into your portal, wherever you want. And it's very easy to do that as well. And you'll maintain the security. The next role I did have, I'm not going to go through the video, but it's a sales manager. In fact, I think if I can speed through it, I think it's quite useful. So a sales manager in this scenario is somebody who needs to create lots of reports for different users, stakeholders, etc. And what this is, or what you're seeing right now, is the interactive portal whereby you can create reports on the fly. So you don't need any IT dependency. You have a combination of user-defined components, predefined components and ad hoc components. Predefined components have been created by an IT department. They're slightly more complex, they're parameter-driven, but they're easy to use and they provide some really effective functionality. So here we've got a predefined component, which is the chart and also the cover page. And you'll see that as I'm talking, we're just dragging and dropping things from the various component libraries in order to create a report on the fly. So we added 2 predefined components, and now we are adding a table, and we're just adding the various columns from our database, and we're just going to run. But this time we're going to change. We're going to use a baby's image instead of a child's image. You can see the report has been created along with the table. And we're just going to now make it look better, make it look more legible. We've added some grouping, or we're about to add some grouping to the report, and then we're going to add some aggregation as well. And you'll see the level of aggregation and the complexity that you can add. So you've got your inbuilt functions. We're just going to use some right now. But then we've got an expression builder, which gives us a lot of control in terms of what we want to display, any manipulation that we want to do on the fly. And so we've done this. We're just selecting the formats. Putting a decimal point in. Grouping our data. And there you go. So what we've done now is we've created a report on the fly very quickly. Again, still parameter driven. We're going to look at boats as the image. And now you've got a 3-page report or multiple page report with three sections which have been created very quickly. The great thing with this is we can save this now, and we can save it for reuse. So it's a very, very powerful self-service tool which is integrated out of box with Active Intelligence. You don't need any extra licenses or anything like that. You can do that, and you can work in conjunction with your IT department to get rid of bottlenecks. So it's a really powerful tool, so the self-service. I'm going to skip this video, but the last section that we were looking at, and I'll just cover it briefly, is scheduling. We have the ability to schedule our reports within AIS. So in the last example, we created a self-service report. But if we wanted to have that on an ongoing basis delivered to our inbox on the first Monday of the month, for example, we can set up a schedule in order to do that. If the report was going to an end client and we wanted to make sure that the data was being pre-checked or pre-screened by somebody internally, a senior manager, for example, we can introduce a workflow. And it's very simple and very easy. You set up the schedule, you allocate a manager or somebody within the organization to do the check with you. Once the report has been generated and a notification is sent to the person who needs to do the check, they check the report, and then only when they approve does the report get sent out. The whole end-to-end process is tracked using a very comprehensive document management system, and we have logs and audit trails of everything from files you upload to when a user accessed a file, when the data was run, when it was shared, when it was distributed. All of that information is captured. I wanted to keep this relatively brief because I know I overran last time, but just to once again highlight the features, it is a complete end-to-end visualization tool. It allows you to do your report management. It allows you to do your dashboarding, user access control, etc. And what's important to remember is that one size does not fit all when it comes to data. different decision makers need data in different ways, and active intelligence allows you to do that. So there's two things. One, we'll open up to questions, but before I go, the one thing I wanted to share with you guys is we have, as a part of this training, as a part of this conference, got a really special offer for you guys, and all you have to do is connect with us. So just send an email, go to our website, download Active Intelligence. It's free to download for 2 users. Send us an email with your details. Just quote BIKON 2018. And what you can have is a training session, a web-based a virtual training session in one of our predefined slots. And our delegates are actually paying $1,000 for this training. Along with that, we will give you an extended license for you guys to use. And yeah, hopefully you'll see the power of AIS, and you'll like the technology, and yeah, we'd like to see you on board, and would love to see you at the training. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to take them.